Welcome to the Ecommerce Marketing Podcast, the highly rated digital marketing podcast that provides weekly digital marketing tips and strategies from some of the world's top digital marketers and e-commerce entrepreneurs that will help you take your digital marketing to the next level. Sit back and enjoy this power-packed episode hosted by Arlen Robinson, who is an e-commerce entrepreneur and digital marketing expert with over 20 years of experience. Hey, e-commerce marketing podcast listener. Are you looking to increase traffic and sales to your website? You can do this by launching your own affiliate program. Just visit getosi.com and sign up for a free trial today. That's getosi.com. Now get ready to hear from your e-commerce marketing expert of the week as they drill down to give you details on marketing strategies that can help grow your business.
Welcome back to the E-commerce Marketing Podcast, everyone. My name is Arlen and I am your host. And today we have a very special guest, Robert Glazer, who is the founder and chairman of the board, of Acceleration Partners, a global partner marketing agency and the recipient of numerous industry and company culture awards, including Glassdoor's Employee Choice Award. 2 years in a row. He is also the author of the inspirational newsletter Friday Forward and the #1 Wall Street Journal, USA Today, and international best-selling author of 5 books: Elevate Friday Forward, How to Thrive in the Virtual Workplace, Moving to Outcomes and Performance Partnerships as well. And he is a sought-after speaker by companies and organizations around the world and is the host of the Elevate Podcast. Welcome to the podcast, Robert.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, and thank you for joining me. Really excited to talk to you today because, as I was mentioning before we started recording, we're talking about a subject that I'm living and breathing every day, which is affiliate and partner marketing. Of course, as the co-founder of OSI Affiliate Software, that is kind of what we do. We help businesses manage and set up their own affiliate and referral programs, and so that's why I'm really excited to talk to you to see how you can touch some areas that I may not be aware of, because I'm always learning, and I'm super excited to learn from you today. And I know our listeners and viewers are as well. But before we dive deep into that subject, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your background and specifically how you got into what you're doing today?
Like most people who started an agency, I did it by accident. I was doing something, people asked for help, I hired more people, and I woke up one day and I was running an agency. I first learned about the affiliate industry as an affiliate, and then I got connected to this company called Tiny Prints during the heyday that was just growing like crazy with the first high-end kind of photo birth announcements. And I had worked in a business related to children and family, and they wanted to get in touch with businesses in the area, and they gave us a code, and we gave 10% to our customers, and they sent us checks, and those checks got bigger every month. And then I started brokering some deals because I had all this network in that space. And then I was kind of making more and more money. And then I kind of went to the founder. I said, there's like a formal thing called an affiliate program that you could set up and run to this. The code-based stuff has limitations. And he's like, great, I don't know how to do it. Do you want to do it for us? And I was like, I actually don't know how to do it either. I'm used to being on the other side. And so I started doing some research about the industry and programs and networks. And, that program was really an early prototype of sort of we looked at some of the coupon and loyalty stuff, and it just didn't make sense to us. Toolbar, what was going on. And it was really a content focused program on mom bloggers, which would be sort of mom influencers, in today's world, and content. And they built up a just tremendous program focused on kind of finding partners who were in front of this new mom audience. And the company ended up selling for several $100 million to Shutterfly. The program was a big part of the business. As it happens in Silicon Valley, people started leaving. One person went to One Kings Lane, and then they called and said, hey, could you help us build that same program you built over there? And it sort of just spiraled from there to where I eventually wasn't doing the work, but we were building an agency around helping people build partner programs.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I like the fact that you, that's your kind of whole focus. A lot of times I've had a lot of agencies on, and a lot of agencies provide a whole suite of services. But as far as marketing partner, I like that that's your specialty. And
We've
it's
tried
good
other
to know
stuff,
because
and then we
sometimes
went
it's
the
out.
other direction. We went to
Okay.
specialization. Again, and our view of the world is you're not going to go get your partner marketing from your SEO or SEM firm in the future, that it's actually a subspecialty, and that it has a lot of different flavors now. We're doing traditional affiliate programs, influencers as affiliate, B2B, things that look a little bit different. And so our viewpoint, what we're building is, look, you'll go to like your paid acquisition firm, and you'll go to whatever, and then you'll work with a partner marketing firm who actually knows how to do this. Because what I've seen is, and look, I have friends who run these agencies, and they'll tell me they have like one affiliate person, and they might have a huge paid team and a huge social, but they have one affiliate because they just don't want to be disqualified from these all-encompassing RFPs. We're pretty honest. Like, we don't do these all-encompassing. But if you really want the best person in the world to do this, like, we know what we're doing. If you want us to combine our bill with someone else's, like that, we can do that. We don't think you should compromise, buying. So the AOR model just really hasn't worked well for partner marketing. Most people just aren't, there's different platforms. There's a whole, to really have a practice. To me, a practice is 10 people all doing the same thing, right? Not one person doing something, because they leave and then you don't have a practice. We got a very large program years ago from a blue chip Fortune 500 brand that had their program at one of these AOR large, holding companies, and they had like one affiliate person. And when the affiliate person left, they didn't even admit to the company they had no one to run their program anymore.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. To have that practice, like you said, you have to have at least 10 people. But I see, it's just a lot of agencies. They're trying to be the quote unquote full service agencies, and they try to meet the needs of all the marketing needs of their customers. And, I get it. Of course, they don't want to turn away work. Yeah, they may just have one person on their team that's familiar with affiliate marketing, influencer marketing, that may have done some things, from in the past or from previous customers. But like you said, if something happens to that one person, they no longer have that as a service item. Really.
Yeah, and there's also
it makes sense.
In-house. I'm sure you've seen this too, but one of the things that we've seen is says, oh, well, we've got, David, and David over here is kind of, he's new. He was working on paid search, but he's kind of his work taking over the affiliate program, and it's a $20 million program. Or otherwise, I just don't see in other industries where someone says, oh, you know what, we're going to have Sarah, who is doing email marketing, just take on PPC. People seem to have a weird tolerance for people with no experience doing this, when it's frankly very complicated. Yeah. When you do paid search, you just need to understand Google and Google's tools. When you do paid social, you just need to understand Facebook, like for the most part, or Instagram. There are numerous platforms, languages, markets, strategies, to be an expert in OSI and then understand impact, and then your client wants to switch. It's far more complicated. So I am surprised how often even we get introduced to our new in-house contact being put in part of a pretty big channel without any experience.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I've seen that as well. So yeah, very interesting how businesses kind of treat the whole world of affiliate marketing. Well, what I want to kind of start off today is, since as we all know, marketing, technology changes so quickly. And so I wanted to see, how do you feel affiliate and partner marketing has evolved over the past decade? And what would you say are some of the most significant changes that you've witnessed?
Yeah, I think affiliate tried to rebrand itself for many years, right? First, it tried partnership marketing, performance marketing, and then everyone called themselves performance marketing, and it became too broad. And the difference between I can measure that something doesn't work and I only have to pay for things that work is fundamentally a little bit different. So I think affiliate, it's weird. It's actually almost the wrong name, right? It sounds like some loose thing that you don't understand. And 20 years ago, you might have had a whole bunch of people. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how they're doing it, but like, I offer 10%, and that guy's chopping it up and giving 5% to different people. And as long as I get the sale, this was before brands were involved. It was strict. As long as I get the sale, don't ask, don't tell. right? As the industry evolved to more relationship and oriented, people wanted these closer relationships. They wanted kind of transparency, and those things changed. And so I think, again, that term affiliate sounded a little loose. I look at it as partner marketing is just business development enabled by technology, right? How can you take technology and do at scale what previously couldn't be done at scale? And now when people look at it, they think about, okay, what is the difference between an influencer and a blogger? Well, the same thing, really, different platforms versus how you're going to pay them. So I think, we've seen this convergence to all different types of partner and publisher types under this kind of partner marketing or partnership marketing channel. And it's a pretty big market when you think about, like, how big is business development? And if you can digitize a lot of that to make it automated, what does that look like? And particularly in the last 2 years, we've seen influencer and affiliate really kind of converge because they're trying to do the same thing. They're trying to get audience, track, measure, and ideally pay on a performance basis. Every couple of years, there's some new thing that comes out where people drink the Kool-Aid and start paying for impressions again. And then they realize that when you pay for impressions, you get impressions. And when you pay for outcomes, you get outcomes. And then that all rejiggers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. This happens every few years. Yeah, I like your breakdown. Like you said, this is really affiliate marketing. It really is business development, empowered by technology, using technology to really manage it, track it. But that's really what it's doing. You're getting outside people to do the business development for you, or in-house people could be your customers. Yeah. But that's really what it is. Yeah, affiliate. Like you said, that term, it kind of gives a different impression of what it really is.
Yeah, and when you're advocating for the channel internally, and when we talk to, we started an event years ago for some of the largest brands that were running programs, kind of a mastermind. And when they're advocating for something and they say, hey, I need to get something for my affiliate, Arian, or they say, I need to get something for my partner, like, it just has a different context.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Partner. When you say partner, that in your mind, you get more of it's kind of more of a solid relationship where you're saying, that's somebody that's really a partner. They're kind of on my team in a way, rather than when you say affiliate, that just kind of, you think more of a looser relationship.
Yeah. That I'm affiliated. I mean, literally, right? Like, I'm affiliated to them somehow. So yeah, exactly.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I would say, with all of the years that you've been doing this, in your experience, what would you say are some of the key strategies for creating a successful and sustainable affiliate marketing program?
These are really simple things, but 10 years later, people don't do it. So resource it properly. Again, if you have someone spending a quarter of their time who's an email marketer, you shouldn't expect a lot out of it. I think, like anything, the set it and forget it doesn't work. And a lot of the inbound stuff is not what it seems. The second is, and when we had that mastermind group, it was kind of like no one was recruiting. Again, if you think of this as a sales or business development, they're sitting there, and if they're a big brand, they're answering the phone when people call and they're taking orders. But a lot of we're just, this is, you have your base, but then you're trying to grow your base, or else you wouldn't grow, right? A sales team that just services existing customers and didn't sell a new one. So it just hadn't occurred to people to build a structured kind of outreach and recruiting function. But if you want to build a healthy program, I mean, that is the core to me of any healthy program.
Yeah. Very true. And a lot of times people, forget that, over as time moves on, a lot of times, like what I see is what affiliate marketing and programs, sometimes with companies, it becomes, more of an afterthought in a way, because the good thing, of course, is you're paying for performance. Of course, when people are giving you a referred sale, you're paying them, whether it's a percentage of order total or a fixed amount. And so I think because of that, a lot of times a brand, you're not paying somebody an ongoing basis unless they're performing. So a lot of times, you may see fluctuations in the referrals that you're getting. And so a lot of times, maybe on those down periods, you're not getting much. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. But like you said, unless you have a good team, or you're working with a company like yours that's actively managing it, actively recruiting, and then servicing your existing affiliates.
You also can't dump money on it. Like, I can give you $1 million and say, go spend all that next week on paid search, right? I can't. What's nice is that creates a there's almost no competitive advantages left in when everything's at auction, right? It's just I can get your strategy, bid a few pennies more, and outspend you. When everyone was flush with venture capital, that was certainly a problem. But that is the sort of illiquidity of the marketplace in that respect is one of the competitive advantages, right? Building those partners and those relationships and knowing what they like. We had a client years ago who Zulily, who would do Melissa and Doug stuff, and it would go crazy. And then the brand would reach out and be like, "Get them to do the other stuff, Zulily," and they're like, "Well, we don't like that deal. Like, we like Melissa and Doug, so like you can't like." You can give people ideas and whatever, but the publisher is the merchandiser. In that case, that publisher really liked Melissa and Doug stuff and wrote about those sales, and they didn't want to write about this other brand that they weren't authentically as interested
in. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's that's very interesting. How when people create those relationships, they create those personas, and then how that can be, people can get attached to those. It's kind of hard to pull them away from that. Now, I know you being on the other side of this as a servicing company, servicing affiliate programs and partner programs for other companies. I'm sure you've kind of seen it all when you're dealing with brands, as far as their overall conceptions of how it should be. What would you say are some of the top misconceptions about affiliate marketing in general that you've seen brands come to you with?
Yeah, I think there's this misconception that you can just dump a ton of money quickly, right? I think the other misconception constantly is I don't want to do X, or X doesn't work. We don't want to do coupons, or loyalty doesn't work, or it isn't valuable. Like, okay, let's dig into that. So I agree with you that made up coupons that click and aren't really valuable. But did you know most of the technology today can specifically solve for controlling for certain coupon codes or valid orders or otherwise? So what and would you and you can eliminate sometimes coupons that come in at the last couple seconds. So again, to say that or we go to someone and say, did you know that this coupon site can actually do a promo via text to 10 million of their customers and drive them to sale today? So let's talk about like what you value, what your customers like, what's your economics like, and then there are things that can be done or not done. Again, loyalty. Did you know they can target new customers only? Did you know they can target certain thresholds on coupons? You can target coupons at orders of $300 or more if you're a premium band. Again, we can make sure those are valid. So I just find that the generalizations never hold up. And a lot of times, again, this is the value of someone experienced running your program or an agency. Like, there's the thing that you see, like the rate card or the kind of, basic service, but then there's a whole bunch of bespoke things that different publishers do that if you know to ask for, you might find them really valuable. During COVID, we had a luxury brand that had never done coupons, didn't want to do coupons, but they were sitting on $1 million of merchandise that they needed cash for. So we convinced them to try something that was new customer only or $300 AOV only. And the coupons drove higher AOV, like their average order size went up. They liquidated a ton of inventory that they would have sat with for 2 years. So the devil's in the details, I think, on a lot of these things. And I'm the first person to say, I don't agree with a lot of these low value tactics, and they don't. But we can pay a 1% commission for this type of behavior, and we can pay a 10% commission for this type of behavior. And then we can let the marketplace kind of sort out which one it wants to do.
Yeah, very, very true. Now, and I can see how brands, of course, kind of have these conceptions. It makes sense. They may have tried things on their own outside of doing something formal, and if it's not structured, it's just not going to work. And like you said in that example with that luxury brand, they've just kind of maybe stuck to their guns and just didn't realize that they were leaving so much money on the table by not even just doing a small discount campaign and kind of going from there. Now, since we've said that, of course, technology is really the heart of affiliate marketing, it's kind of business development empowered by technology. How would you say technology has impacted the affiliate marketing space overall, and what tools would you consider that are essential not only for brands, but for, the modern affiliate marketers that are out there promoting brands?
Yeah. So look, for a period of 10 years, from probably 2000 to 2010, there was very little innovation. The networks were cash cows. They had built this software, they had gobbled up and consolidated, and the technology really wasn't very different, for a while. And I think they were getting exorbitant fees for, taking performance fees inevitably on relationships that were going on year after year after year, right? And at some point, that's not really a performance fee. Like you're not going to pay Salesforce, a percent of every deal. You pay Salesforce as a CRM tool and you sell the deals. I think, what people thought the networks were doing were bringing them these deals. And in fact, it was really expensive tracking. And, Partnerize and Impact both came on the scene, and they were pretty smart. And they went around to a lot of these network things. They said, look, we'll rent you the technology, and you have 200 partners. Well, they understood the 90-10 rule. Just the 5 that you manage and do all the stuff with, like, we'll just do that on a fixed fee basis, which was, of course, all of the profit, for the networks on that. So I think they started an innovation boom. And since then, there's been tons of more software. But for that period of 10 years, there was just almost a monopoly, a duopoly or triopoly. And we're seeing a lot more innovation now, and people competing on different features and different segments, and maybe too much of a race to the bottom, maybe from unhealthy margins to too thin margins, because when people race to the bottom on pricing. But I think that innovation, now sometimes when one of our clients leaves one platform for another, it's because they've offered them a feature. There was one platform we're working with, and their lead gen stuff just really couldn't put caps on things before you would hit a fraud level with new affiliates. And someone else, came in with a product and said, look, we can look at new affiliates very carefully and get to a certain quality score, but before we raise their cap, and all of that's automated. And to the brand, they were like, that's all the work that we have to do. Like, great, let's move to that solution. So I think you're seeing a lot more competition. I'd like to see more competition on features than price. I think we went from, again, I think way too high on margins to a lot of people are just racing to the bottom, and that's not a great solution otherwise. But I've always questioned the sort of performance fee, and I think you have to be really clear. Are you paying a performance fee for performance, or are you paying a performance fee for software rental? Most people I know, again, they don't pay a performance fee for software rental.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you had mentioned, there was that time period where you had these companies like the CJs of the world, the commission junctions of the world, like you said, charging these huge servicing fees, year after year for brands just to kind of be included in their network.
Yeah, and I always say you don't pay the sales guy or person. You don't pay them, 20% forever on a deal they close. You give them a year, and then they got to go sell new deals, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise, it's like, what are you paying?
Right, exactly.
For? And we've got the rise of these other brands now, or these companies like the Impact, and there's several others like that. Do you see there still being space for the commission junctions of the world, or are they going to be forced to make some serious changes?
Yeah, look, I think they've already been forced. I think CJ's been sold a few times, and I think these days, like, again, there's a lot of competitors and new competitors offering new services and new technology. I don't think you can sit on long-term technology and not upgrade it in 10 years. That just doesn't work for any business. So it's a healthy competitive marketplace out there. It's also becoming more global by nature. Like, brands are looking for, can we pay out in different places? How does it work if my program scales, right? I think 10 or 15 years ago, if you were going to launch a global program, you might end up with 5 agencies and 5 networks. Like, I don't know anyone who wants to do that anymore. So I think they're asking the questions from the beginning. If we go to Australia, if we launch in Germany, that's a pretty, how is this going to work? Like, can I just extend what I already have? Can I, and we looked at, you can work with a global agency like Acceleration Partners. We have some programs executed in 4 or 5 continents. It's much better to work across one platform and one agency than 5 platforms and 5 agencies, at least in our opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. It's I mean, I can just imagine just, we're dealing with all of these different partners and things. Just the management of it all can be, I'm sure it could be kind of overwhelming. Now, Robert, as we get ready to wrap things up, I wanted to see, as far as actionable items are concerned for brands that are listening and watching this, just starting off with affiliate and partner marketing, what would you say is your top pieces of advice for achieving success with an affiliate and partner marketing program?
I'd say find the right person who knows what they're doing, make a commitment to it, make a 6 to 12 month commitment, because like SEO, it takes a while to do the work to sort of pay off. Unfortunately, the payoff in affiliate is like accrual, but the expenses are cash. And so those systems don't work. We have people come to us and say, this is a huge money loser. We just spent, $30,000 over 4 months, and we have, $20,000 in revenue secured. So we lost $10,000. And when we look at it, we say, actually, you spend $30,000 the first 3 months on services and tech. And we spent a lot of that time recruiting people and getting them active and otherwise. And so what you saw was your revenue, from the program go from 1,000 to 2,000, to 10,000 in the third month, now with 100 partners. So you need to look at and if we just stopped now and went away, that's not going to fall off a cliff. It might not get better. So you're kind of mixing this cash expense against this accrual. And this will continue to go. So you'd say, like, think of an annuity. What is the price you would pay to secure a $10,000 a month in revenue, right? You might pay $60,000 or $70,000 of that if that goes on in perpetuity. So it's hard to get people to focus on that long term. I think you can really tell the success of a program over a 6 to 12 month period. But you should have goals. Yeah. You should focus on recruiting. You should be looking at, am I getting people into the program? Am I getting them active? And are the people that are active generating more sales, right? Those are your kind of constant leading indicators. That's more important than the current revenue per se.
Yeah, that's really good to know, because I do see a lot of brands trying it, like you said, after a few months, 2-3 months, not seeing much of a return and then kind of giving up on it. But it's like almost anything. You gotta give it time. You got to continually recruit. And
it might not work, but I think you need to give it a fair shot. In the same way you invest in SEO for months before it pays. It's not paid marketing. Again, you should know in paid search or paid social that week if it worked. Like, that's not, this is like business development. You don't judge business development by week 2, or no one would ever, you wouldn't have any business. I mean, the business development people is going out, building relationships, having the dinners, following up. If you start saying, where are my sales after 3 weeks, you're kind of missing the boat on that.
Yeah, very, very true. Very true. Definitely very well said. Well, Robert, this has been an awesome conversation. Of course, this subject is something that I can talk about for probably hours, and I know you can as well. But I know this has been pretty impactful for our listeners and viewers. So I thank you for coming on. But lastly, before we do let you go, I always like to switch gears just so our audience can get to know you a little bit better. Yeah. If you don't mind sharing one closing fun fact about yourself that you think we'd be interested to know.
Fun fact is, I have this newsletter called Friday Forward, which several 100,000 people get each week now. That actually just started as a note that I sent to my acceleration partners team each Friday about just a story about getting better or improvement or something I had seen not related to our business at all. And it actually started with this just 40 or 50 people in the company, and people started sharing it outside the company and forwarded on along, and it kind of just took on a life of its own. So I spend a good deal of my week kind of trying to figure out what the one for next week is, so people can sign up for that if they're interested.
Gotcha. And I'm sorry, that was called the Friday Forward.
Yeah, if you Google it, you'll find it. Or all of my information is at robertglazer.com.
Okay, great. We'll be sure to have the links to that in the show notes so people can check that out and definitely, subscribe to that and see what you have coming out week for week. Well, thank you for sharing that, Robert. I really appreciate that and really appreciate having you on. And lastly, before we let you go, if people want to reach out to you and pick your brain any more about affiliate or partner marketing, what's the best way for them to do it?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm writing there a lot at robertglazer.com, or we have a ton of content at accelerationpartners.com. for brands and people looking to free content, looking to get into the industry. Again, books, performance partnerships, and moving to outcomes also kind of help people understand what's the opportunity for them in partner marketing.
Okay, great. Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you for sharing that. Definitely encourage people to connect with you on LinkedIn or at your website directly. And, they can check you out and everything that you have to offer. Well, Robert, this has been a pleasure having you on. And we thank you for joining us today on the E-Commerce Marketing Podcast.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to the E-Commerce Marketing Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with everyone you know. Are you looking to take your digital marketing to the next level but are tired of weeding through countless YouTube videos with unproven and untrusted marketing strategies? Well, we have the answer for you. The More Sales Every Month online digital marketing course. In this information-packed course, you will learn effective keyword research, link building, content marketing, and much more to attract and convert your site visitors into paying customers. Just go to moresaleseverymonth.com and sign up today for a low one-time fee. In addition to this power-packed course, if you would like to get access to a growing repository of digital marketing articles, PDFs, and ebooks, check out getosi.com/resources and opt in to get full access to our library of priceless marketing information to help you take your digital marketing to the next level.